Harry Litman served as Deputy Assistant Attorney General in the Department of Justice. He's now a legal affairs columnist for the Los Angeles Times. Danya served as Deputy New York Attorney General as well as Deputy Chief of the Criminal Division for the Southern District of New York, and both join me now. Let me just get your impressions as people who are far more practiced at this and have had a lot of experience in trial courts and before judges. Harry, what do you think of today?
Well, my best feeling, Chris, is that the government is pretty happy. The one issue that seemed to be dividing them, whether the sensitive information would be part of the protective order, the Team Trump actually got its way. But everything else, I think, went the government's way, starting with the issuance of a protective order, which they needed in order to move this process forward. Second, very importantly, the definition of sensitive information and how she cloaks all witnesses, anything about witnesses under that definition, and relatedly, the treatment of sensitive information. Trump, can be closed off. He can't take any pictures. He can't do any identifying information. And then to back up what Lisa was saying, the overall sort of tone and feel, body language, I wasn't there, but the sort of messaging of the hearing, I'm the judge, you're the criminal defendant, that aspect of it, that, if and when you force me to, I will use the very strong weapons at my disposal. That came through pretty firmly as well. So all in all, I think they have the judge they want. It's a very interesting suggestion, by the way, she made at the end, that if they misbehave, it could speed things up more. We'll see how that would work in operation, but it was something of a masterstroke to add one more level that she can sort of use to try to influence behavior. She wants to sort of subdivide between now and an actual contempt sentence in jail as much as she can. She doesn't want to go to that right away.
Danya, the big question here, right, is obviously when you take a step back, there's never been a trial like this in American history. I mean, there's just simply no precedent for it. And it is both two things at once. It is a normal criminal trial brought under the normal processes and procedures as, prescribed in federal law and the United States Constitution, and also a completely abnormal, right? It's the guy who was the president who's running for president again. And so I thought this was really interesting. She kept hitting this home. I'm going to read this today from quoting from the New York Times. I want to issue a general word of caution. I intend to ensure the orderly administration of justice in this case as I would in any other case. And even arguably ambiguous statements by the parties to their counsel could be considered an attempt to intimidate witnesses or prejudice potential jurors, triggering the court to take action. I caution you, your client, to take special care in your public statements in this case. I will take whatever measures are necessary to protect the integrity of these proceedings. What did you think about that theme from Judge Chutkan today, Danya?
Yeah, I thought she made very clear from the outset that she was going to make sure that the former president has the same rights as every American. That was right out of the gates, but that he also has the same obligations as every criminal defendant, that he is not extraordinary in that sense, and that she is going to hold him to the same standards and put him to the same paces as every other defendant that appears in her courtroom. And we see this in every courtroom across the country. Just today, Judge Kaplan in the Southern District of New York remanded Sam Bankman-Fried for conduct that is arguably less egregious than statements that we've already seen from the former president. And she is admonishing him and his lawyers, as Lisa pointed out, to make sure that he toes the line and follows her rules in her courtroom. So, and as Lisa and Harry both said, I agree, most of the time, judges have a lot of tools in their kits to make sure that defendants obey the rules. There are, all kinds of strict conditions of release, and they also have the ultimate sanction, usually, which is remand or revocation of bail. Here, as everyone has said, and I agree, it's extremely clever. She has the only thing worse than detention for this defendant is the speedy trial, essentially. So I agree with all the comments, and I thought it was, certainly a good day for the government. While the defense did not get, while there was not a full blanket protective order, that's pretty ordinary stuff. And I almost think that the government put that in there so there could be a compromise verdict, as it were. But I think that was a good day for the government.
Yeah, the Sam Bankman-Fried that you're referring to, who is under house arrest pending his trial, was remanded into custody today. The judge said he was engaging in witness tampering, so he's now going to transfer from house arrest to being in federal jail. And to this point, right? I mean, there's this question of how do you contain Donald Trump, Harry? And I think Trump's perspective on this is like, there's no way that, what are you going to do, throw me in jail? Like, yeah, try it, right? So it's like they are going to test every boundary, right? It's going to be a constant set of tests for this judge, no question.
I think that's right. I think everybody assumes that whatever she says first, he won't obey. Maybe second, maybe third. So she has to credibly be able to advance down that path. But eventually, she will have only that second to last step of saying, if you do this again, I'm going to put you in jail. And once she's made that announcement, and if he does it again, she will have to follow through. Now, possibly he even, as you suggest, wants that kind of martyrdom. But it's really quite a deprivation for him. You can imagine, right? One more thing, by the way, just to back up Danya. All the pressure on the lawyers. There's going to be a lot of hearings where he doesn't attend, and she can start out saying, Mr. Loro, you assured me, et cetera, and you tell me now that you will get this straight. And that puts an extra level. That's what she needs, is sort of more levels and steps between her and the ultimate weapon.
All right, Harry Litman and Danya Perry, thank you both. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Danya.